Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're taking a closer look at the brand new Bell & Ross BR-05, specifically the new, more compact 36mm size.
hmm
If you're tuning in wanting to get, the essential info quickly on new releases, you're definitely in the right place.
Absolutely. And Bell and Ross, well, their design DNA is pretty hard to miss, isn't it? Always drawing from aviation, those cockpit instruments.
Right, that famous circle within a square.
Exactly. It's not just for looks. It's fundamental to their whole from the cockpit to the wrist idea.
Yeah, definitely. And what makes this release, I think, particularly interesting is that size shift. The original BR-05 was 40mm.
Right. And we saw 41, even 42 millimeter for some of the complicated ones.
Exactly. So this new 36mm, it feels like a significant move strategically. And that's really what we want to unpack today. We've been digging into some of the early chatter about it to really understand, why is this smaller version a big deal? What's it really bringing to the table?
It's quite fascinating, actually, this whole resurgence of 36 millimeter. It feels like there's a real pull towards that size again.
Yeah.
And it's not just seen as like a small watch anymore. It's being positioned much more as gender neutral.
Right, fitting more wrists, but also maybe a preference thing.
Exactly. It's not only about smaller wrists. I think there's a growing appreciation just for the elegance, the kind of classic proportions you get with 36 millimeter. If you think back
Yeah.
to some iconic mid-century pieces, many were right in that ballpark, size-wise.
That's a really good point. And the source material we looked at, it even had pictures, right?
Yeah.
On a 16.5 centimeter wrist.
Yeah, it did.
And honestly, the proportions looked, well, spot on.
And hearing Bruno Bellamish, he's the co-founder, chief designer,
Right.
hearing him talk about how design choices aren't just aesthetic, but about reaching a wider audience, well, that includes thinking about different wrist sizes, obviously.
That makes perfect sense.
But here's something key. They're saying it wasn't just a shrink job. The info we have mentions a thorough redesign, not just scaling down the 40 millimeter.
Okay, so that's interesting. A thorough redesign. What do you think that actually involved? Beyond just the dimensions, what had to change to make it work at 36mm, but still feel like a BR-05?
Well, let's think about the core look first. That integrated design, the way the case and bracelet flow together, that's crucial for the BR-05, isn't it? That whole luxury sports watch vibe.
Totally. That seamless line.
And they definitely kept that for the 36 millimeter. You know how that first bracelet link is actually part of the case?
Yeah, it's not just tacked on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's fundamental for that unified, streamlined look. It feels like one piece.
And here's where maybe that redesign really shows the thickness, the case height. This new one is just 8.5 millimeters thick,
Wow. Okay.
which when you compare it to the 10.5 millimeters on the 40mm models,
Yeah.
well, that's a noticeable difference.
That's pretty significant, actually. 2 millimeters might not sound like much. But on the wrist, that kind of reduction in height can make a huge difference. Comfort, elegance, how it slips under a cuff.
Definitely adds to that refined feel, I imagine.
Yeah.
So let's look closer at the case itself. It's still got that signature square shape, but with those softer, rounded corners.
Softens the look a bit.
And then the bezel, that raised square bezel with the 4 screws. Very B&R.
Absolutely. Those screws are iconic Bell & Ross. Straight from the cockpit instrument panel inspiration. And the finishing sounds pretty good, too. Satin surfaces, polished bevels.
Standard stuff for a quality sports watch, that contrast.
Yeah, it gives it that dynamic look when the light hits it.
And that attention to detail seems to extend to the bracelet, too. Integrated steel, obviously, but they mention it's flexible.
Which is important, especially maybe for a smaller watch aiming for comfort.
Yeah, and a folding buckle, naturally. Plus
Yeah.
practical touches like the screwed crown guards.
Right, flanking the screw-down crowd.
Helps get that 100-meter water resistance, so it's still pretty robust for daily wear.
Definitely. It's hitting that sweet spot, isn't it? Sporty, functional, but also refined enough to be, versatile.
Okay, let's switch gears to the dial.
Yeah.
This is another area where the choices seem geared towards versatility. 3 colors to start: ice blue, gray, and black.
Nice choices. Very adaptable. Ice blue is quite trendy right now, too.
It is. And something else, no date window.
Ah, I saw that. I bet a lot of people will actually appreciate that.
Yeah. Why do you say that?
Well, it just gives a cleaner, more symmetrical look to the dial. Sometimes the date window can feel a bit stuck on, especially on a more elegant design.
I see your point. It enhances that cleaner aesthetic they seem to be going for.
Definitely. And the dial finish sounds nice, too. Lacquered base, sunray brushing.
Yeah, should give it a nice sheen, bit of depth. Contemporary, but not flashy.
And again, you see the link back to the cockpit instruments. Legibility.
Always key for Bell and Ross.
Right? So you've got applied Arabic numerals, rhodium plated at 12, 3, 6, and 9. And then those sort of bathtub-shaped indices elsewhere, all filled with superluminova green glow.
Gotta have the lume. So those numerals, are they the same style as, say, the BR-03, those big military ones?
Similar DNA, but noticeably smaller here, which makes sense, right? Smaller dial.
Yeah, proportional adjustment.
And another subtle change, no technical minutes track around the edge.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
like you see on more hardcore pilot watches.
Exactly. Removing that, again, pushes it slightly more towards that sophisticated, versatile look rather than pure tool watch.
Makes sense. And rounded baton hands, also with a lume.
Yep. Clear and legible. Keeps the focus on telling the time easily.
Okay, so what's making it tick? What's inside?
It's an outsourced automatic movement. They're using the Sellita SW300.
Okay, the SW300, that's a pretty common and respected choice, right? Sort of Sellita's version of the ETA 2892.
Exactly. It's a reliable Swiss movement, a real workhorse. And critically, it's quite slim, only 3.6 millimeter high.
Ah, so that definitely helps achieve that thin 8.5 millimeter case profile we mentioned.
Absolutely. It beats at 4 hertz, so you get that smooth seconds hand sweep.
8 ticks per second.
And it has a pretty decent power reserve, too, 54 hours.
Oh, that's good. Better than the standard 38 or 42 hours you sometimes see.
yeah.
More practical.
Yeah, you can take it off Friday night, and it should still be running Monday morning.
Nice. So for anyone listening who's perhaps interested, availability.
Looks like pre-orders are open now on the Bell & Ross website.
Oh.
Retail price is listed at 4,500 euros.
4,500 euros.
And they're saying delivery is expected around May 2025. So about a year's wait, roughly.
Okay, so that price puts it firmly in that competitive luxury sports watch category.
It does. You've got other options there for sure. But given the design, the finishing described, that slim profile, and the reliable movement, it seems like a strong contender, especially for someone wanting that specific B&R look in a more classic size.
Right. So wrapping things up, it really feels like this BR-05 36 millimeter as well. A very smart move by Bell & Ross. They're clearly listening to the market, adapting to that trend towards smaller sizes.
They've kept the core DNA. You see the square, the screws, the aviation link.
Instantly recognized.
But delivered it in a package that's slimmer, maybe more elegant, and definitely more versatile for a wider range of people.
That thorough redesign seems to have paid off in achieving that balance.
It really does feel like a good balance between their strong heritage and, current tastes.
So it leaves us with a thought, maybe for everyone listening. This ongoing shift, this gravitation towards smaller, maybe more gender-neutral watches.
Yeah.
What does that really signal about where personal style is heading? Or even the future of watch design itself?
That's a great question.
What is it about a watch's design beyond just the size that truly resonates with you personally? Is it the heritage, the finishing, the pure aesthetics, something else entirely?
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah, maybe think about how this new Bell & Ross, blending his tool watch roots with these more refined proportions, fits into your own view of watchmaking and design. It's certainly been interesting to dive into this one.